Oh, lordy, lordy, lordy. When I talked about the AI fraud bubble popping, I didn't expect it to go boom quite like this. Who the hell put hydrogen into the kiddies' balloons for the party? Oh, lordy. It's hard doing this particular video. The last video I just did a little bit ago was talking about how Trump is threatening to destroy the entire Iranian civilization. Their civilization. Not their military, not their weapons, not even their leaders, their authority, whatever. No, he is literally threatening to wipe the Iranian civilization off the map. A country of 80 to 90 million people, basically talking about going after core infrastructure to make a place that simply is inhospitable to 80 or 90 million people living there, right? Iran is not Illinois, right? Is it living? Are you living or are you just surviving? That's something you can ask if you're homeless in Illinois. If your entire infrastructure gets wiped out in Iran, you don't ask that question because you're probably gonna die. Again, the Christian right of the United States is a-okay with starving and, dehydrate. What is it when you die of thirst? An entire civilization. Yeah. As I've said many times before, if the giggle of a baby is proof of God, Christianity is proof of Satan. But anyways, oh, lordy. So what'll be interesting tonight? That will be interesting. Get your popcorn and your beer while you can. So if we try to destroy their civilization, they are going to try to wipe out ours. And now here's the thing. They shouldn't really have the ability to try to wipe out ours, right? Whatever happened in Afghanistan, right? Bush came out and talked about it being a civilizational war. Then it really wasn't. What were the Afghanis really going to do to us at the end of the day? We can pick everything up and go home, as we did, and the war basically stops for us. The thing with Iran, though, is again, it's kind of in the heart of the world. A lot of important stuff is around it. So basically, if we decide to destroy their civilization, they can basically try to destroy the modern world. Yeah. Yeah. Right? And so again, when you think about that, it's oil and gas and fertilizer and petrochemical stuff and a lot of that. But I think it's kind of one of the interesting things in the technology world is the whole AI boom. Now, one of the weird things with the AI boom is that a lot of Middle Eastern countries have really jumped on board the whole AI train, right? They know the value of petrochemicals is going to go down, or at least oil is going to go down over time. They understand that they're petrostates, and so they're trying to diversify their economies away from oil because there's a whole bunch of problems with it just being centralized on oil. And for whatever reason, I guess because the cool kids are doing it, one of the things that they've decided is to go after AI hardcore, right? They're going to build all these AI data centers. And so you've seen this with Saudi Arabia is building AI data centers, and UAE is building AI data centers. Again, you see with NVIDIA. NVIDIA is proud to partner with a genocidal fucking regime, right? Jensen Huang is excited that his technology is being used in the real world to commit ethnic cleansing. Fucking real. Fucking real. Anyways, and so one of the curious things that comes up, again, things I talk about with macro forces. So most of the time with us in the United States, when we talk about macro forces, we're talking about things like the economy, again, global economy, supply chains, tariffs, that type of thing. You might talk about macro forces like the internal migration patterns. Again, like with Baltimore City. Baltimore City was a wonderful city. Structurally, it was great. But all the white people decided to leave. That causes problems, right? That's a macro force if you're trying to do technology in the modern world. You might have biblical floods. Again, I talked about that here in Asheville a year and a half ago. We had Helene come through, and we got a biblical flood in the middle of the mountains. So, a lot of times as technology professionals, we talk about these kind of things as macro forces. Okay, so how do you come up with your business model to deal with the ups and downs of the economy? How do you design your infrastructure to be resilient against natural disaster? When you're looking at where to position your company, do you position it in a place that's lower cost but will have fewer qualified employees, or in a place that has more qualified employees but is a hell of a lot more expensive? Right, those are the normal things we think about here in the United States. But here's an interesting question. What happens when your data centers literally become targets of missiles? What happens in any point in time? Somebody can just hit a button and they can literally try to blow up your data center. And not just blow up your data center, because that's the whole thing, like with biblical floods. Biblical floods are bad. I know, biblical floods suck, but they are geographically centralized. So like one of the things to think about, like with high availability systems. So if you're dealing with fault tolerance, basically what's called failover. So you can have a set of servers in different locations. If one set of servers gets wiped out for some reason, there's something called a heartbeat signal. The other set of servers realizes the other ones have failed. They automatically, if you have what's called high availability, they automatically come online, and your users don't really realize there's a problem. It's kind of interesting. Last time I looked at high availability for data centers, again, it was a while ago, but it should still more or less be true. Your data centers had to be within 50 miles of each other. So that heartbeat signal has to keep going back and forth. Basically, the systems are telling each other that they're still up and they're still running. There's a certain latency on that. So latency is the time it takes to get from point A to point B over your network. So even with fiber, even with the best fiber in the world, it still takes time. It still takes time to go from point A to point B. And so it's something like, for high availability, your data centers have to be within 50 geographic miles of each other in order for the latency to be low enough. Again, even on fiber, best fiber in the world, still has to be below like 50 miles. Well, that's the thing. Like if you're dealing with biblical floods, or you're dealing with hurricanes, or you're dealing with earthquakes, any kind of normal natural disaster, or even any kind of normal wartime scenario, if you have data centers that are geographically 50 miles apart, unless you have a really bad day, they should be fine, right? Again, like Helene caused a lot of damage, but if we had data centers somewhere else, it would have been fine. Again, even in a war zone. What becomes interesting, though, is with this whole disaster with the Iran war, is what happens when your data centers are targeted. As the missile flies, as the crow flies, as they say, this data center is about as far from Iran as this data center, which is about as far from Iran as this data center. So, if they're going to launch one missile, they might as well launch 3. What happens when your entire high availability infrastructure goes boom? Like literally goes boom. And what happens when you can no longer trust building infrastructure in an environment? So one of the interesting things with this disaster of the Iran war is there are a lot of countries in the Middle East that are peaceful, that are relatively peaceful, right? You got UAE, you got Bahrain, you got these other places. Again, they may have their own internal problems, but you're not expecting like a war to pop up. Kuwait, right? And so anyways, so again, one of the things that they've been trying to say is, look, the Middle East might be scary, but we're okay. Again, it's kind of like you go to Baltimore City. Baltimore City. Like a lot of Baltimore City is scary, but Roland Park is okay, right? Hamden is okay. Federal Hill is okay, right? So you look at Baltimore City, you're like a little worried about Baltimore City, but you know what? I'll buy a house in Hamden, or I'll buy a house in Federal Hill or whatever else. Well, here's the thing. What happens when the locals from a couple blocks away just decide the fancy new thing, the fancy fun thing to do on a Saturday night is to throw Molotov cocktails into Hamden? Whoosh. Hey, you know what's cool? Hey, let's throw Molotov cocktails in Federal Hill. Again, I was in a place called Mount Vernon, so I lived in Mount Vernon for a while in Baltimore. And yeah, there was they had the problem with going after yuppies. Yeah, at a certain point in time, what the kids in the local areas decided was a really fun thing to do was try to brick yuppies. That wasn't a joke. Oh God, there was yuppie snatching. The bicyclists. So the bicyclists would be in Baltimore, like they're really fancy bikes, they're really fancy things. Anyways, the bicyclist would be going down someplace like in Roland Park or somewhere else. And then a kid would kind of get a little bit out in the street. And so the bicyclist would slow down. And then another kid would run up behind them, literally snag their asses off the bicycle, slam them on the ground, and rob their asses. It's funny what you don't see in the national news. I do not believe I ever saw yuppie snatching in the national news. But here's the thing. Again, one of the reasons I left Baltimore is at a certain point, you know, you can believe in diversity and still not want to be yuppie snatched, right? Now here's the thing. You have a lot of people now looking to the Middle East. A lot of people. Do you think Jensen Huang wants to be yuppie snatched? Do you think Sam Altman wants to be yuppie snatched? Do you think dipshit Dario wants to be yuppie snatched? They're like, we're willing to support this area of the world so long as we don't get fucking bricked going out to the bar. And so what's going to be interesting is as the data centers come under targeting. So again, if we go and we take a look, there's a lot of money, all right? Middle East, led by the UAE and Saudi Arabia, is rapidly investing hundreds of billions of dollars into AI infrastructure to transition away from oil. Key initiatives include $100+ billion for the Stargate and Saudi Arabia's $100 billion Project Transcendence. And so again, think about this and just how the capitalist system works. What happens when hundreds of billions of dollars in demand get paused? We're not saying we're not going to go forward with these AI data centers. We're just saying we're going to hold on a minute to figure out how this is going to flesh out. And it's also probably not going to flesh out very well. If we go and take a look at this, again, this came up in my news feed yesterday, April 6th. That is April 7th. Wow, this seems like a lifetime ago. Iran, so this is coming from TechCrunch, Iran threatens Stargate AI data centers. Iran has warned of further attacks on data centers across the Middle East in response to ongoing threats and airstrikes from the United States. Iran's military said if the U.S. went ahead with its threat to hit its civilian infrastructure, the country would retaliate with its own strikes against the U.S. energy and tech infrastructure in the region. A video released by Iran shows an image of a globe, then zooming in on the Stargate data center in the UAE, with the message of, quote, nothing stays hidden to our site, though hidden by Google. And again, that's the other thing to be thinking about, like with data centers and stuff. They're big. They don't move. It's like, oh no, we might get hit by Iranian missiles. We need to move this data center 5 miles that way. There's no shoot and scoot equivalent to AI data centers. No, let's burn these tokens as quickly as possible and then move the entire data center that way. That's not what happens, right? You build a data center and it's there for fucking ever. So yeah, I think this is going to be an interesting quirk, especially, like I say, for the technology world and all the push into the whole AI build out thing, and how all of the companies will respond to this. Again, imagine if hundreds of billions of dollars of sales. Again, screw the oil supply, screw the fertilizer, screw Sri Lankans starving to death. Nobody gives a fuck, right? Screw all that. But think about this, right? Important stuff. Imagine if hundreds of billions of dollars of sales for AI data centers essentially evaporate, or not even evaporate, right? That's one of the more insidious things in the real world of business. They don't evaporate, they just go on pause. What does pause mean? It means pause. And again, think about this. Again, we talk about that whole macro forces, Eli, politics, right? Why do you talk about politics? But think about this, right? OpenAI has an $855 billion valuation right now. Right? They're trying to get a $1 trillion IPO. It's based off of the AI boom. What if the AI data centers start going boom? What happens to their valuation? Again, before we get to the fraud, right? What happens again? SpaceX, right? You know, $1.75 trillion valuation, right? Their sales are like $15 billion a year. Most of the money for SpaceX, God bless, comes from Starlink. And I'm not snarky about Starlink. Starlink is phenomenal, but dude, it's not worth $1.75 trillion. So much of that $1.75 trillion valuation comes from AI. What if the AI data centers start going boom? So anyways, I don't know. Fuck. What the fuck? Hey, if any of you know like any like Republican Congress people, can you please give them their nutsacks back? You know, it was really fun. It was really funny for a while to talk about the castrated poodles of the GOP. Okay, joke's over, boys and girls. Joke's over. Give the GOP their fucking nutsacks back, please. Give them their ball sacks back so they can go back to being men. Maybe they can ball gag this motherfucker. Yank his motherfucking leash until he screams. So yeah. Remember End of History? Any Gen X here? Yeah, well, you know, all the important shit's been done. Your lifetime is gonna be pretty boring. All the important wars have been fought and won. All the important institutions have been created. Look, poor Gen X just gets to sit back and enjoy. Oh God. I never thought I would miss the concept of End of History. Can we go back there, please? Anyways, so what do you think about this? What do you think about AI data centers going boom? What do you think about trying to figure out high availability when all data centers, you know, horseshoes and hand grenades, are as close as any other data center as far as how the missiles fly? Fuck. Put your thoughts down below. See y'all later.